On this episode of The Riff, Martz and Drew continue their conversation on the 5 H's. This time, it's hustle. The good kind, not the, I answered one email and now I deserve a nap kind. We hope today is helpful. Thanks for listening.
Riff Raff, we are back with another episode. Drew, you're on your phone.
I'm not.
What in the world?
I was studying.
Wow. Oh, I like that.
Looking up information.
Just micro-learning. That's
Micro-learning.
what I've heard. That's what I heard that it is.
I have a, what's this app I use? It's called, it summarizes books. Deep Stash.
Okay.
I use Deep Stash, and you can actually look up a book or a subject, and it just gives you like the eight principles of the book. And so sometimes this book I read before, I'm like, man, I know I read that in that book. Or people are like, hey, have you read this book? And I'm like, I would love to, but the amount of times I hear that.
I do that.
So I look it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's like Good to Great by Jim Collins. You just click in there, and yeah, it just goes through the main ideas and concepts and summarizes the whole thing. And I'm like, man, that's great.
Yeah, I do the book summaries. Is that would probably be the same thing?
Same concept.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get
You can study a subject or whatever. Like, hey, what are the top 5 books on this subject? And then just kind of get a big overall summary of it.
I think we just found our first sponsor.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Deep Stash.
Our global audience, Deep Stash, would be curious to know that I just recommended it to everybody.
I hope you get a percentage back on that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's free, but
kickback.
Yeah.
5 H's.
Right. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, let's get back into it. Yeah. Oh, so last week we talked about humble. So, so many things. I can't even recap that. You can go back and listen, or you just hit the next one. And that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's an order to this.
No, which one do you want to do?
It's not like you build on maybe there is. I don't know. Maybe you need one of these before. I think humble might be the first one.
Humble might be the first one.
Okay. Next one I would go with is hustle.
Hustle.
There's a shirt that said like humble, but then you could do the M and B and cross it out and ST.
Yeah.
L. Nah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Then you're saying don't be humble,
never
just
mind.
hustle.
It was a great shirt idea. It's gone now.
Yeah. So preface, 5 H's, you got to have them to be on the team for us. We want that on the way in. And then when you're on the team, this is what we're looking for: coaching, cultivating, trying to like come back to. So hustle. Why don't you break down hustle? What does it mean to you? What does it look like to you on the team?
That's one I wasn't expecting you to kick this to me. Okay.
Hey, 5 H's pre-existed me. They're more you than me, man.
Totally unprepared right now. Totally unprepared. Hustle's a unique one. Okay, because there's 2 sides to this coin. Where
I just thought of Anchorman when he pulls the flute out.
That's exactly what I was doing. That's exactly what I was doing.
We aligned on a movie quote. Yes. That doesn't happen often.
Totally unprepared, but then he pulls his flute, his Yaz flute out, and he's okay. But hustle. Which one? Pretty self-explanatory. This is someone who can work. Like this is someone who's not afraid of hard work. This is someone who puts in the time. Now, again, 2 sides to this coin. There's a pro to someone that hustles, and there's a con to someone that hustles. Because a lot of times when you hustle, and we've got some people on our team that work hard. They work as if it's unto God. Like some amazing stuff. You need hustlers to get things done. You need doers, not just thinkers sometimes.
Let's do a quick shout out. Give me 2 people that come to mind when you say hustle. Who are like the people you think of?
Okay, 2 that right off my bat that I could think of. One, Tamara Thomas.
Yep.
Tamara Thomas, a crazy amount of hustle and ownership. That's what I'd say. One thing that kind of comes with hustle is that ownership. Like, hey, I'm owning the outcome of my area, of my ministry, of the things that I touch. I own it. Another I'd say is Cage Carter.
Yep.
Who is just and does it, both of them do it with such a great attitude. It's one thing to find someone who hustles. It's another thing to find someone that hustles and they always have a good attitude.
Yeah.
That is so rare.
Yeah. Tam Thomas, kids, Springfield campus.
Yes.
Cage, production, Springfield campus. But he does production stuff. Yeah.
All around.
All the place.
But yeah, hustle. So two sides of that coin. One is, you get work done. But here could be a fault of hustle. That's like, hey, here's a scary side of hustle is sometimes, your identity is your work.
Yes.
Your identity is how much you can do. Your identity is, and if I didn't put in the same amount of work that I put in last week, if I didn't put in the same amount of work for this event that I did a last event, then you could very easily hold that identity of, I'm only as good as my last event. I'm only as good as my last goal that I hit.
Yeah.
And there can be a scary side to that. But there is this principle at North Point where it's like, hey, we want you to work hard. We want you to work as if it's unto God. We want you to, you are going to have it in any role at North Point. You're going to have 60 to 70 hours of work a week.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that we want you to work 60, 70 hours. That just means you're going to have more than enough stuff to do. And the amazing thing is we have phenomenal people that go to our church that are on this mission that are saying, God, how can you use me?
Yeah.
And there are opportunities. So even the hustle standpoint is not just like how many hours can you put in at work?
Yeah.
It's saying, hey, how can I strategically give opportunities for people to be on this mission? And honestly, I was somebody who, before I worked at North Point, I got an opportunity to be on this mission, and I got more and more things thrown my way. And I remember being like, thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that you've entrusted me with this. I love that I get to do this. It was a very fulfilling, cup-filling moment for me. But walk me through from your standpoint.
Yeah, to me, I think about hustle, it's like the ability to hey, whatever's got to get done gets done, and it kind of ties into humility too, but also there's nothing beneath your job description, It's the ability to say hey, if something has to get done. So I'll give you an example. Church was over on a Sunday, but there was another service being set up for a couple weeks ago. After service. So but I saw the team in there putting together physically, you were in there putting together easels. So there was a service that was happening after church and the person needed help with something. And I just go in there, and Pastor John Martz, who's you see on the stage preaching and teaching and announcements, and that guy, you're also in the back room putting together easels. Or when we were picking up from Christmas,
it's a trade secret. I'm just really good at it. So I'm not even trying to be humble. I'm just excellent at putting together easels.
Yeah.
So
or even cleaning up from Christmas. I remember walking one of my first weeks after church is over, crowds are gone, and you're up on a ladder, pulling Christmas trees back up into the attic.
Dangerous.
Right. And it wasn't well, I'm Pastor John, I don't have to do that. It's no, hey, we got to pull together to make stuff happen, So hustle is we're looking for the mentality of someone who's whatever it takes, we'll get it done. And ideally, yes, you're building a team and recruiting, a team and volunteers. But at the end of the day, it's that. Say, hey, what has to happen? Let's roll up our sleeves and go do it.
You talk a lot about outcomes over output.
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
Yeah, outcomes over output. I'm looking for strategic thinking with folks, because the person, I've worked with that person who in the past who's well, I worked 60 hours this week, and I'm that's not a badge of honor.
No.
Most of the time I'm yeah, we all could, but what were you being smart about it? Were you, what was the outcome you were trying to achieve? Not output languages. I worked 60 hours. I'm so tired. I did all of these things.
And generally when you do, you let everyone know.
Exactly. You ever work with that person? If they spent less time talking about how much they work, they actually might get more stuff done. I'm so busy. But they're finding, that's what you're talking about. They're finding their identity, and I'm such a hard worker. And hey, I want that. I want the hard work, but also I want smart, work smarter, not harder. And instead of output, I did all these things. I'm looking for outcome. What was the result of doing all of that? Because otherwise you get so dialed into hustle that it's working long, crazy hours is what the goal is. That's not the goal. The goal is outcomes. What outcome were you trying to achieve with that? And did it achieve that outcome? So I would rather have someone say, hey, my strategy was to do these three, was to get this one thing done. And here are the three tactics that I had. I executed on those three tactics to achieve that strategic goal. And because of that goal, here's the outcome that we had, and so, hey, I want to know those three things now how you went about doing those and how much time you put in each one of those. What I'm looking for is a hustle to get after that strategic goal, not a hustle just to be a busybody, to be always running around doing stuff. Yes. Because when a leader starts thinking about achieving goals, what they start thinking about is empowering people around them, coaching people to know how to do things. They start looking for the gold in other people. It's well, if there's any way I'm going to get this done, I'm going to have to find the gold in other people. So for me, stepping into this, I've met so many talented, gifted North Pointers who are hey, how can I help? And I'm well, what are you good at? What's in your heart? What are you passionate about? And I'm almost cataloging people's passions and giftings and skill sets to be okay, well, when that comes up, I want to put that person to work in that space because one, they want to do it, they're good at doing it, and they'd be better. What would take me 10 hours to do, that person could get done in 2. And so when I'm outcome focused, I'm thinking about who can I employ? who can I put in their sweet spot? How can I orchestrate and organize a team and talents and giftings around me to achieve something? That's an outcome-focused person is thinking in that world, and they can still work 60 hours if they want to, but they could very well get the same outcomes working 30 because they built and empowered a team around them, and they were long-term thinking about that. An output person is just going to continue to work 60 hours a week, and they might not even be as impactful or successful as the outcome-focused person. So to me, that's a big difference when you're leading people, is figuring out, hey, like, don't just be like, hey, everyone be here and work. It's like, well, wait, what are we trying to achieve? And then people own their strategic goals and what are they trying to accomplish to move the mission forward. So, but yeah, hustle can come across both ways. At the end of the day, like, the Christmas tree has to get moved, but there's also, there's ways to to put to work. I was out at Republic last week, and they have, it's the Reset team. Is that what they're called? Yeah. So there's a team of people in Springfield. They meet on Wednesday nights. In Republic, they're Monday afternoon or Monday noon. Yeah. And it's a group of people that come in, and they actually do some things to reset the church for the following weekend. So it's actually a small group that's a community. They eat a meal together, they laugh together, they have fun together, and then they had to take about an hour and they reset the church campus for the following weekend. By reset, I mean they just straighten the chairs, they get connection cards and pens back out on seats. They just ensure that the room is set up for the next weekend. And there's 10 to 20 of them. And, both times I've been with both groups, and there's probably one in Nixa too I haven't met with yet, but they're awesome. They love doing it. They're like, hey, this is a way for us to contribute. And
you literally could not thank them enough. The blessing and the gift that they're giving to this environment is so giant. One person legitimately could not do this.
Yeah.
And that team is like, we love it.
Yeah. And they do love it, and they've built community, and they're like, this is my friends. And it's like, I got to know some North Pointers because he was talking to me in the lobby. I'm like, hey, let's whistle while we work and go do this together. So I was able to
hold on. Did you just say whistle while we work?
Whistle while we work.
I've never heard that. I like that.
That's what is that from? Snow White?
Yes, I think so.
Okay,
I've never seen Snow White,
before your time.
That's immediately what I thought of. The Seven Dwarfs.
It's from the archives. Yeah.
Wow.
Whistle while we work. It's like, you know what I mean? But hey, that's hey, if we're going to go do this task, and it's a simple task of connection cards and chairs, but I learned about him and his cabinet business and his family and how long he's been at North Point. But instead of hanging out in the lobby just talking, I'm like, hey, let's go do this together. Yeah. And then we're just and so we got a whole job done, and we're having fun, getting to know each other, laughing, telling jokes while we're doing the thing. And it's for them, people are building community, whatever. So if we rewind on Hustle 1 is an output person would have done every single one of those tasks by themselves, would have complained about how long it took them, and would have gone home super tired. A output person is thinking, I'm actually trying to build community strategy and put some people that want to help out in a simple way that can in the middle of a week, and build community around this thing. It's two birds, one stone, building community. Yes, the task is getting done, but we're building community with people along the way. And then people feel committed. They come in on a Sunday and feel proud of the fact this room looks great because I helped them make it look great.
It's an invitation to the mission. And all of us want to be invited.
Yeah. I met a lady in Republic. She's her thing is she's like, I actually really enjoy vacuuming, and I like vacuuming that sanctuary every Sunday, and she was like, it's therapeutic for me. And I go back to mowing the lawn for me. That's their, the lawnmower. And she's like, I actually look forward to coming in, and I get to eat lunch with my friends, and I just actually enjoy vacuuming it. I'm like, that is awesome. Yeah. That matters to move this mission forward. So outcome, hustle is do what it takes, but then it's also thinking smart about how do we organize people that want to do things. And even there's some, and that's a simple example, but there's a lot of them out there where it's just, there's people want to help. They've got some skills, they've got some talents, they've got some capabilities. One person I think of is in Nixa that has hustle, that's not even on staff, but just wants to help and is awesome. Anna Messler. You know Anna?
Yeah.
Incredible. I thought she was on staff because she just finds a way to be so helpful. She heard about a thing at the Dream Center, the art projects that Nathan's working on. But wouldn't you know it, she hears about it. And then I see her organizing people and getting supplies and setting up an Amazon list and this whole thing. Why? Because she just has that how can I help mentality, which is one, humble. It's not about her. It wasn't her idea. It's Nathan's thing at the Dream Center. But she has a hustle to be well, I can help with that. What can I do? And that lean into it how can I be of help to this, as opposed to let me sit back and wait for someone to ask me to do something. I think about that with hustle.
Okay,
too.
so that makes sense in a church world.
Yeah.
All right, let's utilize volunteers. Let's, like invite people to the mission. What if you work a job that is like, there isn't a mission more than making $1? Like this is just what let's, and not saying that T-Mobile is that, but you've been at T-Mobile and you've looked at it and you've like, I've got 60 hours of work this week.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? How do you make sure that you don't burn out? Is it just like saying, hey, this is the outcome, so let me shed everything else. Let me be as strategic as possible. Walk me through.
Yeah, I think, yes, be strategic with your time. Realize what's the best use of your time. And then guard your yeses, guard your nos. Over a hustle culture person will like say yes to everything, burn out, and then you have a bunch of people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s who are completely burnt out because they bought into hustle culture, which is not a good thing.
Waking up at 4 a.m. and I get my work. Yeah.
It's not a
$1 million mindset.
Yeah. It's not a mindset. It's a grind set. You got to get on that grind.
I love that.
What's your 9 to 5 when you're 5 to 9? And it's like, dude, I get it. Like, it is the era of the side hustle and all that. But you have to guard your yeses, guard your nos, define what success looks like for you, and then work towards that. I think, so what do you say yes to? What do you say no to? And you've got to be able to have a strong no to the things that actually aren't going to help you get where you want to go. That comes back to the outcomes. It's like, all right, here's the outcome I'm working towards. The more you do, the more people will ask of you. The cost of doing well is doing more in most organizations. When you win and crush it, guess what? Your quota goes up. They're just going to throw more and more responsibility on you because you're capable, you're smart, you're hardworking. And if you keep saying yes to everything, eventually you will burn out. So I think you got to guard your nose. Like, yeah, I can't do that. Why? Because I want to do this more. It's like, what do you want to do most versus what's the best thing to be doing? And so you got to say no to good to say yes to great, and know what you can be great at doing and knock that out of the park. So yeah, I think all those things matter. Yeah, and just understand what is your assignment, what's the thing you're made to do, and then go do that really, really well. Guard the yes, guard the no. I think you can burn yourself out in any organization, especially if you're a business owner. Like there's never ending list of things that you can do, should do, ought to do. But what are the things that really you have to get done? I think one of the best books I ever read on this subject is called Multipliers by Liz Wiseman, I believe. But the concept is, some people come into the workplace and they make a difference by addition. What else can I do? Multipliers find a way to multiply themselves by mindsets, delegation, training, empowering, finding the gold in other people and putting that to work. That's where I think you make the biggest difference is multiplication instead of addition. But that book is well worth the read. There's a whole concept in there called accidental diminishers, which is where hustle-minded people actually start stunting the growth capability and output of people around them. Mm-hmm. They're diminishing everyone around them and they don't know they're doing it. And so if you're someone who you're prone to hustle, you're like, oh yeah, I know how to work hard and like, I'll get it done. You actually might be stunting the growth and output of everyone around you without even knowing it. So Multipliers, Liz Wiseman, and then just go YouTube it, like accidental diminishers. She walks through these 6 traits that hardworking people tend to do where they become their worst enemy because they shut down everyone around them, only further piling up the load on top of them.
Yeah.
So
that sounds great. I never read that book. One I read recently was Buy Back Your Time, which talks through something very similar. It's the story of the baker. And the baker gets starts a business, starts baking a lot of different cakes, gets a lot more business. Mm-hmm. And so in order to grow the business, she hires more bakers. And they bake, which then allows her time to go get the supplies. She can do the payroll, she can do all the things, and it grows and it grows, and she keeps hiring more bakers, and then she's ordering more supplies, she's getting more things, and then she ultimately realizes she's like, all I wanted to do is bake.
Yeah,
and I actually, in order to grow the business, I actually offloaded the one thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so even when it comes to, I think burnout can be overworking, and it can also be spending your time on the wrong things or spending the time on the things that don't light you up. And, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but would you say that you've got like a personal mission where you're like, hey, I know no matter what I'm doing, what career I'm in, this is a mission that I know is worth my time and worth my energy and worth my investment. Have you nailed down anything like that?
I don't think I have like a this is my life mission like statement per se. I think it evolves in time. And I think you got to know like what is one. And I think sometimes God will put different things in your heart for different seasons. I think for me, there's something that God kind of spoke pretty clear to my heart about a year ago, year and a half ago, when I was kind of making some decisions to put myself on go, like for God, like burn the ships. God, what do you want to do with my life? Ultimately, that landed me here, which is awesome. But one of the things God spoke to my heart in that season was I just felt him say pretty clearly, like, give me your mind, give me your mouth, and I'm going to make you a fisher of men. And I used to communicate a lot for a living, talking about other things other than just the gospel. But I felt like the Lord was like, give me your mind, give me your mouth, and why? To be a fisher of men. And so I really felt like this evangelistic thing, like, I feel like God's, that's the goal, is to bring people into the kingdom of God, to reach people for Jesus. So I do think an element of that is like, what are your strengths? Like, and what has God gifted you with? And so when that kind of started to sink into my heart, I'm like, how can I better guard my mind? How can I get tactically better at communicating and speaking? And it's not because I want to be great at those things. It's because, man, if I could spend the back half of my life reaching as many people for Jesus as possible, that's what I want to do. And so, I burnt the ships. I'm like, I walk away from things that would make more sense or make my life easier or more comfortable. But it's like, no, like I got, I just turned 44 this week. I'm like, all right, 24 to 44, I built what I built with my own career and everything. It's like 44 to 64. I want to win as many people to Jesus as I possibly can. And so then what that is for me is like, all right, how do I, sharpen my mind, sharpen my communication skills for the sake of the gospel? And I think that's what God has wired me to do. And that's what I want to spend my time doing. So in that, how do you say no to other things and say, well, I could go do this. I'm saying no to other things so I can guard my yes to the thing that's deepest in my heart from God to go do, so that sounds like deep and spiritual and all those things. But I think always find that, what is my calling? What is God asking me to go do? And then try to dial in on that. And the more successful you are, the more pull you will have within your workplace or within your business, the baker story, to go do 17 other things. But knowing what's your why, what's the one thing, what's the thing that you think God's put in your heart to do, and go do that. And more is not always better. Sometimes like the baker story is classic. It's like, no, actually you're called to be a baker. And just because the world and the culture's path for that is then go hire 17 bakers and build a baker enterprise, it's like, well, maybe not. Maybe that's actually not what God's called you to do. You have to have your definition of success and run after it. I'll tell you like a story that makes me look prideful and shallow.
I'll judge you after. It'll be perfect.
Yeah. I used to, I had a job with T-Mobile that had me traveling a lot. And so I was gone a lot. I mean, I was like a regular with the TSA people over the Springfield airport. They're like, hey man, and so I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And so I was traveling a lot and I enjoyed it. I liked traveling. I liked seeing different cities, different places, but T-Mobile was sending me around all over the place. And so I was in and out of the Springfield airport a lot, but I was missing a lot of time at home. And I'm like, this is not worth it. My kids were getting older. You start missing games. And then, my wife feels like a single mom every other week because she's got to get to everything, all drop-offs, all pickups. So
you bought a private jet because it just made sense with the money that,
Yeah. No, not at all. But like, I remember I had status with American Airlines. And so I had, and so when I would check in, a lot of times I would get upgraded to first class. I would, and then they'd call it, hey, now boarding first class customers. And so you'd get on early and they'd gift you so you're treated differently, and better because you trust. So to American Airlines, I have status, but in my heart, I was like, but I'm losing status with my kids because dad's gone again. And so I had to say, wait a minute, like the first time it really hit me, like I ended up quitting that job. And that was one of those things where like I ended up doing something locally where I'm like, I'm gonna be home more. I said no to something that made me great because that in my mind was like this thing, and it's like, no, I want to be home more because what status matters. My definition of success had to change. I want to be a great dad and a great father, and I have to travel less and make less money and be less important. That's what I'm going to do. I didn't really realize how silly of a thing that was in my heart until I lost my status. I went back to the airport and I got my boarding pass and I was like, oh, I'm not important anymore. And this sounds so shallow, but I remember like group 9, I'm like getting on the plane and I walked past all these guys in first class that were like the big deals now.
I used to be you.
Yes. And that makes me sound so shallow, but God showed me the heart. Like he exposed that in that moment. It's like, I'm like, why do I feel that way in this moment? It's like, because you changed your definition of success. You said yes to me and like followed me. And it's like, where do you want to be important? So when you change your definition of success to go after what God's called you to go after, you have to be okay with other people's definition of success is different. Now, no, Paul says, run your race. What is the race God has set before you? You go run after that thing, and don't compare yourself to people who are on a different racetrack. In that moment, so silly, walking down the airplane being like, these guys are more like, they're on a different track than I am. They have a different thing than I am. And I said yes to the better calling, which was, and God's calling, which was home, family, kids, boys, raising them with being there for the little moments, and so saying yes to that, like, this is where I want to have status. I want to be a platinum level dad to my sons, not a platinum level traveler to American Airlines, And that's like, when I say choose your yes and choose your no, and the little things, but also the big things in life, is figure out where do you want to apply your hustle. Where, if you're going to be industrious at things that matter, and be thoughtful about what outcomes you're trying to achieve. It's like, if I gain the whole world but lose the soul, or my kids grew up being like, yeah, my dad was always gone. I'm like, whoa, I just,
he was a big deal to American Airlines, I guess.
And how stupid is that?
Yeah.
But in that moment, I felt some sort of way of like, oh, but God was like, no, that's not your race. That's not what I called you to, And it was like a silly, shallow thing. But I just remember God like did something. Walking down the airline aisle that one day, I was like, oh man, I said yes to God, and I said no to that. I said no to that life of being important to other people outside my family, that people that notably, most of them, as soon as I quit that job, they're not going to know about me anyway. You know what I mean? And the people that really matter, like, what do they think about you? Like, and if there's people listening to us, workaholics, moms and dads, like, go hustle, go get it. Go do everything God's put in your heart to do with that business, that job, that career. And sometimes it takes 60-hour work weeks, and I get all that, but don't get so fall in love with that you realize that like you've hustled for something that actually isn't the primary thing. Thomas Merton, he's I think his last name is Merton. Can't remember if it's Thomas. Anyway, he's a friar guy. I think he's Lutheran Catholic. But he has this whole quote is like, he's like, many people spend their whole life ascending to a top of a ladder only to get to the top and realize it was leaned up against the wrong wall. And if you climb the wrong ladder in the name of hustle, then you'll end up in the wrong space. But if you apply that heart posture towards what has God called me to do, and then go hustle that way, be smart, build people around you, build teams, build systems, like you could actually apply that hustle, and it could be a powerful thing. So.
And I think it's okay. It's okay to build something. It's okay to be proud of something.
Yes.
It's okay to spend lots of time on something.
It's good.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay to want to be a somebody.
Yes.
And then be okay with being a nobody.
Yes.
And if you can be okay with both, that's a pretty good spot to be.
I agree.
Riff Raff, that's all we got for you today. We'll be back with a few more H's. We got a few more.
Yep, we did humble, we did hustle, hungry, helpful.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Riff. We'll have a brand new episode every week, wherever you find podcasts.